Sedgrove. At first base, Lucas Crosby. And at third base, Dave Harrington.
For a weekend, yes, definitely. Yeah, it gets a little stuffy in Toronto sometimes. But I'm not big. So through wire system sources, first is through duel. So it's then my work.
And welcome to Softball Canada's Canadian Grand Slam Senior Men's Championships, also featuring U23 and the Masters, brought to you by Kitchener Fastball Promotions. I'm Steve Sabbert along with Bernie Burnett for this senior men's contest between the Micksburg Twins and the Kitchener Cubs. Cubs up to bat here in the top of the first inning. And first pitch swinging, sent deep to center field, and that will carry over the head of the center fielder, Travis Gibson. And leading off, Tyler Branshaw with a double. A fantastic start for the Cubs after they lost their first game earlier this evening.
So, Steve, the Cubs are the host team coming from Kitchener and representing the hometown bunch, and we got a sparse crowd tonight because it is cold out there.
Getting to that time of year, let's run down the defensive setup for you for the Micksburg Twins. At first base, Wade Kuagchig. At second base will be the flex player, Andy McIntyre. Third base is Jared Steege. Shortstop will be Adam Alexander. In the outfield, from left to right, it'll be Connor Hopper. Center fielder Travis Gibson. And right fielder Matt Greer. All behind number 13, Jordan Graham, the starting pitcher tonight. So the Micksburg Twins using their flex position, and their pitcher will bat in the lineup. Graham slated to hit third. For the Cubs, it's going to be Branshaw at second base after that leadoff double. And now Barry Ike, the second baseman, stepping into the box. And he will step away from the box after striking out for the first out of the top of the first. That'll bring Ryan Kirk, the catcher, to the plate for the Cubs.
Catcher, number 25, Ryan Kirk.
The Cubs also electing to allow their pitcher to hit in this lineup. So going with 9 on the scorecard. That shot up the middle and get through. And the Cubs will open up the scoring on a solid single from Kirk.
That was some savvy coaching at third there. It was a tough play to get an out, but if he'd have fielded it, they would have had him at home. But he was waving them right from the get-go.
Well, the Cubs losing to Galloway Hitman earlier tonight. That ball sent down the right field side foul. And falling short against the Hitman, so trying to get started early here in this contest. Dan Mitchell now stepping into the batter's box, the third baseman for the Cubs. Hot shot to the shortstop. Nice scoop. And he'll take it himself for the double play to end the threat posed by the Cubs. But they get 1 run on 2 hits after their first at bat. So we'll go to the bottom of the first. And it'll be Micksburg coming up with Adam Alexander, Travis Gibson, and Jordan Graham, the first 3 hitters.
So, Steve, we're here at Peter Hallman Ball Yard, one of the premier ball facilities in Canada, right here in Kitchener-Waterloo, named after Peter Hallman, one of our community people that unfortunately passed away back in 1999. His brother Jim keeps things going, has formed the Kitchener Fastball Promotions, which brings you this tournament on behalf of Softball Canada. And we welcome you to the tournament.
No, a great facility. Really 3 diamonds here, too, correct?
Correct. 3 diamonds, 2 are clay. 1 is just stone dust. So actually the diamond 1 and 2, the clay diamonds get the most use, but in a tournament of this size, it's very helpful to have 3 diamonds. We, in fact, the Masters is taking place as well as 3 games here tonight over at Bud Park. It's another nice facility here in Kitchener.
So our first check of the Cubs defense will start at first base. Brian Eit playing second, Barry Eit. Over at third is Dan Mitchell, and the shortstop is Wes Short. In left field, Liam LaForest. Center field will be Tyler Branshaw, and in right field, Scott Lelis. And pitching for the Cubs, number 34, Kyle Linton. And the catcher will be Ryan Kirk. So the 2 battery mates will get things going. Leadoff for Micksburg will be the shortstop, number 4, Adam Alexander. Both teams have played a game so far today. Micksburg losing their earlier contest. The Cubs, as I mentioned, dropping to Galway. The Toronto Batmen, which just wrapped up a game against the Waterdown Hammer. Batmen 2-0. East Hants Mastodons are 2-0 as well. The Souk Loggers winning their opener. The Hitmen 1-0. Beer Creek Express putting a win on the board. And Saskatoon 0-1 to start the tournament. Josh Collins Racing Red 0-2 and Waterdown 0-2. So that rounds out your senior men's loop on the first day of action so far. Weather delayed things in yesterday's schedule, Bernie, but able to get everything back up and running.
Looks like we're back on track as of the end of tonight, so that's very good because I think we might have some challenges tomorrow, but we'll see. We take it as it comes and adjust.
Alexander stepping into the box. And he will get a first look here at Linton. Shouts of encouragement. Always nice to have some night ball underneath the lights. Alexander skies this to center field, and that will be swallowed up for the first out here in the bottom of 1. You know, the fun thing about the softball community, Bernie, is being able to see players that have grown up in the system. You know, they started off in, Bantam, U16 now going up through the ranks. I've been able to catch up with a number of players at the U23 level through the years, and now in senior men's. It's fun to watch just the progression. Not only that, but it's a small world.
It's a small world. Having played fastball many, many years ago, I'm now watching like grandsons. You look at the last name and go, oh, you must be related to whoever, and their grandsons.
Here's Travis Gibson, the center fielder. And that's Sky to the shortstop for out number 2.
Bit of a theme early on with high fly balls.
Now here's Jordan Graham, the pitcher for Micksburg. You don't see a lot of this in today's game, Bernie. Pitchers inserted into the batting lineup.
And I've been impressed in this tournament because there's actually quite a few. And they're not only inserted in the batting lineup, they're in the top 4. So speaks to their athleticism to be able to bat in the top 4 and be one of the top pitchers.
Linton hit by pitch there. He'll scamper back to the dugout. And bring out Gibson to run. Jared Steege up to the plate, the third baseman for the Cubs. Swung right through that one. The other thing, too, is looking at the teams that have come across the country to compete in this tournament, the number of players that have also made it through the junior and the senior national programs. And just the skill that's been presented here with a number of players. Canada recently competing at the World's Men's over the summer. And the junior program, the U23s, looking to ramp it up this fall. Some international tournaments coming up. So Canada definitely has a lot of talent and skill in the system. Change up there by Linton fouled off.
Steve, when we were first presented with the opportunity for the tournament and then bid on it and got it, we offered to start the tournament on the Monday because usually these Grand Slam tournaments take place over like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the U23 players, they all play on some of the men's teams. So we offered to start Monday and get the U23s out of the way early so they could play on their men's teams as well. So you'll see some of these talented youngsters.
Throw to second, got into center field, but nice backup there by the Twins center fielder Brandshow to keep Gibson at second. Gibson coming in to run for Graham. And a good eye and a walk for Steege. And that'll bring up Greer to the plate, the right fielder. Runner in scoring position as well as a running at first base. So opportunity for the Twins to get something on the board in the bottom of the first. We've seen a couple of teams today strike early, and that really set the tone for the game.
I think the bench maybe got a little bit of a warning there.
Nice delivery by Linton. Got approval from the catcher. And a good pitch there to get himself out of the inning. So the Twins strand a couple after a hit by pitch and a walk. Mix a stolen base in there, but Micksburg kept off the board. We're scoreless, or it's 1-0 Cubs going into the top of the second. Don't want to take away that run in the first inning, but it'll be Brian Eit, Wes Short, and Scott Lelis coming up in the top of the second inning. Of course, another game going on tonight. The last two games of the first day of action for the senior men's bracket going on at a different diamond.
In the home half of the first inning.
See, I'd like to take this opportunity to, on behalf of Kitchener Fastball Promotions, to give a shout out to all our volunteers. An event like this doesn't happen without a lot of volunteers. We have over 50 volunteers doing various functions, gate, scoring, announcing. We also have commentators like yourself, Steve. Maybe you can talk about where you come from, your experience, and why you're here as a volunteer.
Well, it's, softball has been a great part of my life growing up. I grew up in Simcoe, Ontario, along the Lake Erie shoreline, played some ball back in the day. Got involved in broadcasting, actually, what was when I moved to CKNX Radio in Wingham. The Moncton Fastball Invitational. And I don't know, Bernie, if you recognize that, but it was a tournament put together. What happened is a lot of teams, it was kind of like a preseason tournament. Yep. Teams would go and kind of warm up. One year they had an international flair because it was the Worlds that year in Kitchener. Yes. So they had some Team Canada, USA, New Zealand, Australia come on in and play some exhibition games. So we actually did some broadcasting on the radio for that tournament. And Perfect. Then was lucky enough to get together with a group. Went to the Yukon, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Prague to do some men's events, and actually ended up in Anaheim for a junior women's event, which was a pretty neat experience.
That's the story of sport. It gets you around the world and around different places. You get to see in Ontario. You can. That's how I got to learn all the small towns in Ontario.
Yeah, and as a strikeout, as Ike goes down swinging for the first out of the top of the second. The other part about it was getting to see players from the area that I lived in, especially with the juniors. Owen Torrey, Mac Fisher, all part of that junior program that was in Prince Albert. Tyler Pauli from the Toronto Batmen was in Prague, was part of the men's program. Nice. So that was neat to follow them. Alex McGilvery, who is playing both U23 and senior here in this tournament, watched him win a PGHL championship with the Hanover Barons, so a junior hockey provincial championship this past season. So just a lot of neat stuff, and being able to broadcast sports, always a lot of fun, and watching people enjoy the sport. And right now, the Cubs hitters not enjoying their time up the plate as Wes Short goes down swinging second out of the inning.
We certainly appreciate folks like you and Fred Wallace coming down to help us in these types of tournaments. It really adds some professionalism to our event.
Scott Lelis, the right fielder, coming up with 2 away. Cubs leading 1-0 here in the top of the second. Well, I mentioned to Fred there as we bantered back and forth in the last couple of broadcasts, as much as we work at different locations, that was the first time that we ever converged on the microphone for an event.
Really? Wow.
As that is sky to shallow right field, and the second baseman will back up and haul it in to take the Cubs out of their inning, and 3 up, 3 down, so no hits, no runs across. We're still 1-0 headed into the bottom of the second. Yeah, so Fred and I, as Fred will be back tomorrow for some broadcasts, of course, right here at the Nationals. Yeah, that was the first time we were able to chat and have a conversation on air and talk about some of the stuff. So
we're happy we could accommodate that. I'm going to mention a couple organizations involved. One is Montana's. Montana's has been supplying the food this week for our volunteers. Our volunteers are quite excited to have a nice meal from Montana's for lunch and for supper. So thank you to Montana's for that. Our food truck here is run by Village Caterers. They've been with us for many tournaments, and we appreciate them being here to feed the fans. Two groups that help make this event go.
it's always better when the stomach has a little something in it. I won't lie, I'm a foodie. So leading off for the Micksburg Twins here in the bottom of 2 will be the first baseman, Wade Kawagashig. Joe Mick will bat second. Andy Barber will slide in as the third hitter this inning. Busy first couple of days here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. The U23s ready for their playoffs starting tomorrow.
Right, and as I mentioned, we've started them earlier so that they would be able to finish and then continue to play with their men's. As you mentioned, that one player that's playing for both.
Kyle Linton delivers a strike. A little thought it may have been outside. Leaves that changeup short. Another shot, and that will make it 1-2, and the batter will take a pause and try to regroup here. Bernie, want to dive into just the format here for the senior men's as that pitch gets away. How does it work? The teams play the round robin, and then how do they get a spot in the playoffs?
So, well, U23s and the Master Men's have 7 teams, and so they're playing. Everybody's playing everybody once, and then that determines the top 6, and then they go into their playoff format for that. The men, I believe, are divided into 2 divisions, so they're not playing every team. And their record within the division then determines the playoff format.
So a leadoff walk issued by Linton. That's going to bring up the catcher, number 34, Joe Mick.
With a limited number of teams, you're more likely to get some ties, and there is a tiebreaker system. Basically, it's head-to-head, although if there's 3, that's a nice play.
Nice bunt to advance the runner. Third baseman for the Cubs, Dan Mitchell, only had the option to go to first, but gets the out However, the runner advances to second.
I think his barehanded play was the difference.
Andy Barber, the DP, stepping into the batter's box for the Twins as they trail 1-0 here in the bottom of the second.
So tiebreakers, you go head-to-head, but if you have multiple teams, then you go to run differential. And then once you get down to 2 teams, it goes to head-to-head again.
So every batter important because you don't want to let a game get away from you.
Every run is important.
Every run is important, yep. Linton finding his stride here with the runner at second base and 1 away. Good spot to waste a pitch, trying to get the batter to swing. Full slate of games tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. It all wraps up on Sunday with the men's playoffs. And there's strike 3 as Barber goes down swinging. Connor Hopper now will try to drive in that runner standing at second base. Or check that, it's 41, Andy McIntyre. So he on the scorecard is in the flex position. So he will bat. Double check down to second base to see if he swung. Linton trying to get out of a mini jam here. Keep the Twins off the board. Linton's velocity seems to be climbing every time he puts a little extra into it. Count is 2-2. Again, trying to get McIntyre to chase there. Good take by McIntyre. So he gets on board by a walk. So that's the third walk of the game so far issued by Linton. And that will swing it back to the top of the order. Adam Alexander flew it to center field. Big hack at that first pitch. Stays with it, but right to the first baseman. As a call about a foul ball falls on deaf ears. It definitely was right down the line. So the Twins unable to push a run across. We go to the top of the third. 1-0 lead for the Cubs, who will send LaForest and Linton to the plate, and then Tyler Branshaw as the top of the order slated to come up. The time to put this tournament together, Bernie, must have started last year and has been a year's process.
Yes, it is a process. That's a good word. But, you know, we have lots of good people helping out. We work hand in hand with the city. As you can see, they are very good at keeping their ball diamond in tip-top shape and in between games getting things done. Yesterday when you had the rain, they were on the diamonds, getting them back in shape so that we could get at least some games in. And then we meet on and off with the city to make sure that we have everything we want and they get everything they want. We also work closely with Waterloo Region Sport Hosting, which is a local organization that looks to bring events, sporting events to the area, and they provide financial and marketing support. So it's a long process. It's a lot of work, a lot of details. Softball Canada sends us a manual of everything that we need to do, and we plug away on it, and voila.
Shot to center field, and the Cubs have their leadoff runner aboard. And that will bring Linton up to the plate.
Now batting the pitcher, number 34, Kyle Linton.
I remember one story, which I'll share in a moment, back in my early days after moving to Huron County. As Linton takes a big cut, working with that Moncton Fastball Invitational, met a group from Cleveland, just fans of the game, and they come up from Cleveland, and I think it was the third year, another big hack there by Linton. They brought up mustard that was sold at the Cleveland Stadium. And we're giving out bottles, and I remember getting this bottle of Cleveland mustard. Diving stop by the first baseman.
What a
the
play.
option was go to first on a nice play. It'll be LaForest going to second, and Linton being put out on the 1-4. And a heads-up play by the second baseman to get over to cover the bag on that play.
And the throw was from the ground, which was very athletic, I guess.
So Tyler Brandshow, with a double back in the first inning, will step into the batter's box once again. He eventually came around to score for the only run of the game. We're in the top of the third. Foul tip there. Still counts as a strike. And some looks of displeasure from both sides here at the plate. That will sail high. Well, if it's any indication for the rest of the weekend, things here in the latter afternoon into the evening have run very smoothly. As that sky to the second base area and will be hauled in for the second out. Barry Ite, a strikeout victim back in the first inning, will now step in. Danger still not over. Runner at second base.
Ite is a very familiar family name for Kitchener fans. Jody Ite, Doug Ite and the family have been involved in Kitchener ball for many, many years.
Graham trying to get his team out of this inning, go back to work. Lost the handle on that one, went a little high.
I don't think he knew where the ball was. It's in his glove.
Two and two count. Try to change up speeds there, just missed high and outside. And now dealing with a 3-2 count. And that will catch a part of the strike zone. And second strikeout of the inning of the game for Barry Ite. So that will send the Cubs back out for defense. And the Micksburg Twins trail by 1. It's 1-0. Gibson, Graham, and Steege coming up to the plate, the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the bottom of the third. I'm Steve Sabbert along with Bernie Burnett, who has played a major role in helping organize this event. And fans are encouraged to come down to see some great ball. Of course, a full slate of action tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. And Saturday, a full schedule as well. And Sunday will be playoffs and the finals for the senior men's division. Galloway, the defending champs, they won it last year. The Galloway Hetman, I believe. And some competition this year. Bear Creek Express have had a good season. Toronto Batman always in the mix.
Should mention, and I believe maybe you did at the start, that these games are live streamed by Conestoga Digital TV, CCDTV. And we appreciate the work they do in bringing these games to you. Last night we tried to set a record again for who last year stayed up till 1 o'clock with us for a game, and we got to 12:45 last night. He's smiling because it looks pretty good for tonight. Yeah, he's a little worried about tomorrow.
Travis Gibson steps into the box. Will face Linton for the second time. A fly out to the shortstop back in the first inning for Gibson. Weather definitely cooperated today. It adds to the story. The remember wins.
I was telling Fred we were in a tournament up in Barrie on a long weekend once, and we were going up the back end of a double knockout. We played Saturday night at midnight, and our next game, that was the start of the game, and we played our next game at 8 o'clock in the morning. We made it to the final and lost.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no hold weather button that you can push when you're dealing with an outside sport.
You know, do they still run true double knockouts? Those are long tournaments.
So my son actually just played OBAs, and it was a double knockout situation. Which, I mean, you lose your first two, it's a short tournament.
Yes.
So that was a double knockout, a true double knockout.
As I say, we went up the back and we lost early, and then had to win. But you got to win a lot more games when you lose early.
Absolutely, you
and
lose
then,
that first game, and
yeah,
you might as well just stay at the park all day long because you know you're going to play.
That's why we played as we did. And then when you get to the final, if you've gone up at the back end, you got to beat the team there twice because they haven't lost yet.
Graham here working the count. One away. Steege and Greer next in the lineup for the Twins, trailing 1-0 here in the bottom of 3. Talking about double knockouts and putting yourself into a hole and that sort of thing. Both these teams losing their first game and still lots of ball to play, but you like to get that first win into your column just to make things a little easier. Strike 3, so Graham goes down looking. He was trying to convince the umpire otherwise, tossed his bat towards the dugout and started to walk towards first base. Jared Steege now coming up. He walked in his first plate appearance.
You know, as Kitchener Fastball Promotions, our job is to promote fastball in the area. And, I mean, over the years, the sport has declined for a lot of reasons. Blue Jays came to town and more kids went to hardball. Soccer became popular. And so there's less and less fastball being played. But it's good to see this caliber of play still happening. And in the small towns, there's still teams that are getting together. I think back in the day, hockey and basketball were two of the main sports in small town Ontario, and just a little more competition these days. Lacrosse is taking off like crazy in our area, I know.
Linton delivers. That one will not catch the strike zone, and another walk issued, but 2 away here with Greer coming up to bat for the Twins. Action gets underway tomorrow at 9 o'clock, bright and early. The BC Sook Loggers will take on Josh Collins Racing Red from Newfoundland. The Bear Creek Express will take on the East Hants Mastodons at 9:15. So 2 good contests to get things underway. Then it'll be the Hitman and Hammer at 11 and Saskatoon and Micksburg at 11:15. So, and that's just the senior men's bracket. So 1-0 lead for the Cubs. Twins trying to wiggle their way back in, but they have 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd. Linton, control problems. That's in the dirt. That will allow Steege to scamper up to second base. Well, growing up in Simcoe, playing the sport, what used to be known as Bantam, now U16.
Correct.
Ended up going to Canada to play in the provincial championships. Lost in the second game of a double knockout situation in the final. Had to scrap our way up to that point. And that just missed for another walk, and Linton having some issues here.
Yeah, Canada's up there. I coached basketball at the high school level and single A, and we sometimes ended up in Canada. And the short route was to fly to Winnipeg and then drive down. So it is up there. Oh, no, you're talking Canada. Is that near Ottawa?
That's near Ottawa.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What was I thinking of? another K town in Ontario.
Kenora, yes. No, it was Canada.
Canada. No, Canada's the Ottawa district.
Drivable. It was drivable.
So, what, 6.5, 7 hours from here? Maybe not. Fred and I are getting geography lessons this week. Fred had no idea where Rostock was, so he had to look it up.
About learning communities and the different parts of the province and sports in general, allowing you to travel and learn a lot. Great pitch. Wade Kawagashig took a walk back in the second inning, second plate appearance here, with a runner in scoring position. Can the Twins find the equalizer? Not just too far outside. And Layton goes high and gets the batter to swing through. So 2 runners stranded. No hits in that inning, 2 walks. And the Twins kept off the board. 1-0 lead for the Cubs as we go into the top of the 4th inning. And it'll be Kirk Mitchell and Brian Eicht slated to hit for the Cubs.
In the whole half of the 3rd inning, for the Twins, no hit.
I've been fortunate enough to not only work different softball events and share some stories, but junior hockey has been my bread and butter throughout the last 20 years, covering Junior B and Junior C out of Listowel and communities like Hanover, Mount Forest, Wingham. But some of the questions I get include, what's the strangest broadcast location you've had? And we're very fortunate here to have a great view of the ball diamond and have an ability to call the game correctly. I was doing one playoff series in hockey, and they put us on top of a broom closet. So we were right in the corner, had absolutely not a very good view of the ice. So if, tough angles, not a problem. I've been through worse.
Leading off the top of the 4th inning for the Kitchener Cubs.
So Ryan Kirk stepping up to the plate, and it was a ground out, a single back in the 1st inning. So Kirk looking for his 2nd hit of the game. He was erased on a double play ball. And just a little ahead of that one. And I'm sure Fred, who will be back on the mic tomorrow, has a lot more stories throughout his long broadcasting career.
Well, he's been with us since the start of the tournament, but he's just going to go tomorrow morning. Then he's back up in Owen Sound for the fishing derby. So I think he has some even bigger stories with the fishing derby. Sounds like they've been helping out with that for quite some time.
It is definitely a staple up in that part of the world. Catcher negotiating for the Twins in behind the plate as Mick talking to the umpire. Graham thought he had a definitive strike there, and that will be a swing. Kirk couldn't hold up, so 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Dan Mitchell hit into the double play back in the first inning.
77, Dan Mitchell.
Gets his second plate appearance here tonight. Didn't get that call.
So looking ahead to tomorrow, Steve, the forecast isn't very promising. The games, we'll get in what we get in. The one thing about forecasting, it's not always 100%. Could be better, could be worse. There's a hit.
That slammed into
No.
left center, but a nice play by the left fielder to haul that in.
A little bit of a bobble there, but stayed with it.
Hopper able to swallow that up for the second out. Talking about tough angles earlier, just trying to get that angle into left field. Brian Eit now stepping into the plate, strikeout victim back in the second. Who makes the call on any weather delays?
Softball Canada.
So
It's their tournament. They make the call as to when we stop, and they have their guidelines. And when we return to play, and they have guidelines for that. And then they, in consultation with us and with the city around the Diamonds, make the decisions as to how we're going to move forward. If you lose a chunk of time, there's several ways to do it. You can go to an outside diamond, and we're lucky. I'll let you finish here, Steve.
strikeout there. Eit swinging his second strikeout of the game. So Cubs go in order, still lead 1-0 as we head to the bottom of 4.
So yeah, there's several ways you can deal with that. You can bring in extra diamonds. That's not always easy to do. You can go to 5-inning games. It's very hard to move games around. And the reason for that is your umpires, your announcers, and scorekeepers are all on a set schedule. And so delays, they might not necessarily be able to be here. Trying to move games around, of course, you got to make sure that the game you're moving isn't a team that's already playing elsewhere. So it's not real simple to just simply move things around, and it requires a lot of communication, a lot of work together to figure it out.
I think, too, just based on past experiences and looking at different events, as long as everybody knows what the plans are going into the tournament, right? So the guidelines are there, everybody knows what could happen and should be prepared for what could happen.
Right. Should be prepared and being prepared are
two different
different things. I take these scorekeepers and announcers. I mean, they have lives, right? And so they schedule themselves around. So if you're going to change their schedule, that's not necessarily going to work.
Joe Mick stepping into the box, the catcher for the Twins. Grounded out to the third baseman back in the second inning.
A lot of spin on that one. And we have some of the best scorekeepers and announcers in the world. They've been doing this with us for years, and they try and be as flexible as they can, and quite frankly, go above and beyond the call of duty quite often.
Andy Barber trying to bunt his way on and missed. And now takes strike 2.
So you mentioned the World Championships, and basically they happen every 2 years, but they really throw a wrench into the normal schedule.
Barber swings and misses. He's a strikeout victim for the second time tonight. Now McIntyre coming up to the plate.
Over.
And
Sorry,
you're
go
talking
ahead.
about the July, the World Men's.
World Men's.
Yep.
Yep. So that is in effect the reason that we have 3 championships going on in one weekend. Normally, without the Worlds in place, then they're a little more spread out. Over time, the tournament schedule with the ISCs and with the Worlds has fallen into a bit of a pattern. Even the tournaments for all these teams are sort of, each tournament sort of has its weekend, and the teams can play every weekend if they want. You know, back in my day, Owen Sound was a huge fastball hotbed. And talking to Fred, I believe they have a men's league up there, but a far cry from the days of old when they had world caliber teams.
There's a lot less emphasis on leagues and more on tournament play, it seems. As McIntyre will strike out for the third out, so Linton doing his job, sitting down the Twins in order, and we'll go to the top of the 5th with the Cubs still holding on to a slim 1-0 lead. It'll be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for the Cubs coming up to bat. Wes Short, the shortstop, will get things going, but
It would tend to suggest that the pitching is going really well, but I mean, how many walks does Linton have?
he's had a couple that
I think each inning the Twins have had runners on
four walks and a hit by pitch,
in 4 innings.
but was clean there in the bottom of the 4th.
But previous innings, the Twins were getting runners on. They just couldn't capitalize and bring them across.
But I know when I played, we went as far as Niagara Falls to play games. My dad was thrilled about that on a Wednesday night. Burlington, we travel from Simcoe to Burlington. The one year the league took us to the west, so we'd end up in Tillsonburg, Woodstock, kind of that neck of the woods.
I am so old, Steve, that back in the day when I played, our parents didn't come to games. It was the coaches drove us around. Parents rarely came out to games. And that began to change.
I was the carpool era.
Where
the parents would split the schedule up and 4 or 5 kids would load into one car. And
yeah, exactly.
Here's Wes Short. Struck out back in the 2nd. 0 for 1 on the night. So earlier, last couple of games, you'd see hitters appear at the plate 4 times as they were able to string some hits together. It's been more of your standard pitcher's duel here.
As reflected by the score. That first run came pretty early in the game.
Yeah, solid double by Brancho to lead the game off, and then he eventually worked his way around.
And that's been the only scoring?
It's the only run. So now it's going to be up to Scott Lelis to get things going for the Cubs. And quick work by Graham as Lelis goes down swinging. Liam LaForest, a single, was stranded at second base back in the third.
Left fielder number 92, Liam LaForest.
Hard cut by LaForest there. And Graham really putting some smoke behind those deliveries. Ways to pitch up high. That just missing. Catcher tried to frame it for the umpire. And now the batter's box.
So I always find this hilarious. They mark the diamond, they put in a batter box, and after about the first three batters, there's no batter box left.
The first thing they do is rub that back line out.
Exactly.
They try to work it.
It's interesting. That's the first time in a long time I've seen anybody even be talked to about it.
LaForest will swing and miss for the third out, so Graham sits the Cubs down in order. And that will do it for the top of the fifth. Still a 1-0 lead for the Cubs. We go to the bottom of the inning and top of the order for the Twins. Due up Alexander, Gibson, and Graham. We'll see if the Twins make any changes, but that's what we have for the first three batters coming up for Micksburg.
Steve, one of the things that you need when you run an event of this size, of course, are sponsors, financial support. So Hallman Construction, I'll name a few. Hallman Construction, McCarter Gresspan Lawyers, and MTE Engineers are three sponsors that are regular sponsors of all our tournaments. Kitchener Fastball Promotions, we run our own tournament every year in end of June. The Peter Hallman Memorial Tournament, and then look to see if we can't get an ISC or a Worlds. Well, we've never hosted a Worlds, but Canadian Championships of various age groups to complement our season.
So Alexander stepping up to the plate for the third time tonight. 0 for 2. Fly out and a ground out along his stat line.
Shortstop number 4, Alexander.
And didn't get a chance to run down and meet some of the players on the teams. Of course, you go back to back to back. Doesn't leave you a whole lot of time as the games move on quickly. But Adam Alexander is a name you don't see too much around the world, and the one I know was a fastball player from the Walkerton Mildmay area and also played junior hockey with the Walkerton Hawks, so I may have to buzz down there after the game to see if he's the guy. But again, it just amazes me, the people that play through the system and stick with the game.
Yep.
Because they have a passion for it. And right now, Alexander trying to stay in the mix. Definitely on top of Linton right now. Just missed that one.
Just missed the baby buggy. Although I know the baby's out in the stands. So that's getting things started early. That baby could not be more than 3 weeks old, I don't think, that they have in there. But if you're going to come watch Daddy play, no time better to start than when you're first born. It's always a treat to see the little kids come and watch their dads and then get a hold of the ball and play catch in between games and that sort of thing, because they're the next generation.
Alexander not happy with that call. A look of dismay as he walks back to the dugout. Looks at strike 3. And Travis Gibson now stepping into the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the night. So after that discussion about walks and allowing base runners over the first 3 innings, Linton settled down and has found the strike zone. Twins have left 6 runners on base here tonight. Unable to crack the scoreboard. And
of course, right after you say that, he walks the batter.
Issues the walk. Of course, Fred and I had the discussion. It's you say one thing and the other thing happens.
That's why you don't talk about a no-hitter.
So Graham will come up to the plate. Hit by pitch back in the first. Caught looking in the third.
Tried to entice them to think that he was bunting and then swung away.
Trying to help himself up out here in the close contest.
Got a good cut of that one.
Yeah, Linton seems to be leaning back to give it a little extra juice here against his counterpart. There goes Gibson on the steal. And ball will get into center field. The throw not even close. as Gibson will work his way to second. So Graham with a runner in scoring position, even if he gets on, they have Alexander that could come in and pinch run and add some speed.
Catcher there knew he had to get it away in a hurry, so that was a bit of a rush throw.
Nice change up.
Whoa.
And Graham somehow was able to hold up on that one. It almost looked like a swinging bunt the way he was leaning forward.
Sure did.
Definitely had him fooled on the change of speeds. Now for the 2-2 pitch. That gets by the catcher, and the runner will advance. So interesting play on that. Like, Kirk didn't pop up right away. No sense of urgency. And even Gibson at second was wondering, and then got the wave from his teammate and scampered on to third. And that will miss, and Graham will get aboard on a walk issued by Linton. And Steege coming up to the plate, the cleanup hitter, number 88. And he had a walk back in the first inning, and he walked in the third as well. So here comes a runner, and it'll be number 52 entering the game as a pinch runner for the Twins. And that'll be Scott Conroy. So he'll slide in to run. Only one out here in the bottom of the fifth, and a 1-0 lead for the Cubs. Twins threatening with runners at the corners and their cleanup hitter up at the plate. So now we're starting to get into something interesting in the latter stages of the game. Defensive strategy. And the classic will wait till the ump makes it halfway to break us up before we scatter.
That had me laughing. Oh, here comes the ump. Let's scatter.
So the question is, when do you send the runner at first? Is the catcher going to fire down, or are they going to
fire at the pitcher?
Fire at the pitcher and try to get the runner at third and a run down. There goes the runner from first, so let him go. So the new term. Indifference. They just let him go.
Defensive indifference.
So first base now open. You have Greer on deck, who struck out looking and walked in his first two plate appearances here tonight. Big cut by Steege on that offering.
Question is, are they running on contact?
If you're doing that, you're hoping your batter doesn't hit a line drive right back to the pitcher. Another huge cut. Two and two is the count. Who will the spotlight shine on here? And that's going to get by.
He's
Runner's
going.
going to charge home, and that will score a run.
Oh, and then
here
he's
comes
going to
the
score another
second.
one. Oh, my goodness.
And again, sense of urgency for the Cubs not there as the Twins jump on the opportunity. Steege didn't have to do anything, and now the Twins take a 2-1 lead.
Wow, that's a turn of events.
It looked like Kirk went to freeze frame the pitch for the umpire, but it tipped off the top of a glove, so he didn't get a good hop off the pass ball. And then the throw bounced off Linton and deflected away from the plate, which allowed the next runner to come in. So
Heads up running.
very much heads-up base running. Steege
Look
will
at
strike
that.
out there swinging for the second out of the inning, and that's going to bring up Matt Greer.
So that is a huge pass ball.
Right fielder number
Scoring 2 runs when you get the strikeout, and you could have had runners on second and third with 2 out. Guess you don't get RBIs if you let a ball go and it go.
No, that'll be 2 runs on a
There's almost
ball.
almost 2. Well, I guess the first would be a pass ball, and then what do you call the other one? An error.
A little bit of authority with that final pitch as Linton will strike out Greer, but not before the damage is done. The Twins score 2 on 2 walks and now lead 2-1 going into the top of the 6th. So I'm sure a little bit of a discussion on the Cubs bench to get the fires roaring again. We go to the top of the 6th, and it's going to be Linton leading things off, and then Brandshaw and Eit, number 1 and 2 in the order.
Just a shout out to a couple more financial sponsors. MHBC, Miller's Electric, ME, and Iron Horse Financial Solutions are 3 other financial supporters. Really key to running an event is to have that financial support. There's money at the gates, but it tends not to cover everything.
Well, again, reasonable gates too, full day pass. You can come and watch a lot of ball, 3 different diamonds to choose from, 3 different levels. You can definitely make yourself at home here for the next couple of days.
Bring a blanket.
Don't pitch a tent in center field. They tend to frown on that.
Yeah.
Kyle Linton leading things off here for the Cubs in the top of the 6th. 0 for 1 tonight. And he'll let Graham work away here, take a couple of pitches. Hard cut through that one, and he finds himself in a hole. And he'll go down looking. 3rd strike called, and that's going to bring up Tyler Brandshaw.
Tyler Branshaw is the son of Mike Branshaw, who is one of the top officials for Softball Canada. You'll find when Tyler's playing, you'll find Mike there, whether in a Softball Canada capacity or just as a dad.
Chop to the third base side, and a nice hard throw snapped to get Branshaw on the 5-3 putout. Barry Ike coming up to the plate. And 2 quick outs here in the top of the 6th inning. So ever since that first run came in, Bernie, back in the top of the 1st inning for the Cubs, they've only had one other base runner through the game, and now will be taken out of this inning on the fly out to the outfield. And that will take us to the bottom of the 6th. But yeah, the Cubs unable to get any production going, and you do that by getting runners on base, and they've only had one, and that was back in the 3rd inning after scoring first in the top of the 1st. So,
and Micksburg was getting runners on like crazy and not able to score until that last inning.
Until the 2 walks came back to haunt the Cubs. So a 2-1 lead for Micksburg as they go to the bottom of the 6th. And the Cubs running out of innings to put something on the board.
Yeah, so Micksburg essentially scored their only 2 runs without the benefit of a hit.
Yeah, leading into that bottom of the 5th, the Twins had left 6 runners on base and then able to push 2 across. So it'll be Wade Kawagashig, Joe Mick, and Andy Barber scheduled to come and hit for the Twins. I don't see any defensive changes for the Cubs at this point. Entire starting lineup still in. And we'll see what the Twins can do with this opportunity. Score a couple of insurance markers and hold defensively in the top of the 7th, and the win is theirs. Linton able to even the count on Graham. And now goes ahead on the 1-2. That outside corner has seemed to evade every hitter tonight. As Linton tries to go a little further outside on that one.
I think Blue's been calling that pretty consistently.
Absolutely. I mean, if as a pitcher able to hit that spot every single time, you'd have a pretty easy night. Down on strikeouts for the first out of the inning. Joe Mick coming up to the plate now, 0 for 2.
Now at the plate, the catcher, number 34, Joe Mick.
Shake of the head by Mick, and the umpire agrees. And now that becomes the inside corner. Looked like the same spot, but called the ball. Last game of the night here on this diamond. Things will start up again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And that one was high and outside for sure. And caught looking as Mick will go down looking for the second out. So due up in the lineup was Andy Barber, the DP. But Connor Hopper in that flex position, so he's going to come in and hit.
Come on, Hopper. Let's go.
Takes the first pitch strike. And takes a second one. So quickly in the hole, 0-2, that outside corner. And 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and that will end the inning. So the Twins unable to add to their lead, 2-1 going into the top 7th. Last call for the Cubs to tie things up here and keep this contest going. Due up for the Cubs, it'll be number 25, Ryan Kirk, Dan Mitchell, and Brian Eit. They're slated to come up, but we'll see if the Cubs have any pinch hitters in mind to try to create a little bit of a spark plug here going into the 7th inning. Both starting pitchers going the distance so far tonight as Graham comes up to work. The Twins defensively here in the top of the 7th.
Unfair from Conestoga TV that you can't root for a no tie. Even though you want to go home.
Well, let's say the Cubs
Of course, yes.
come up and tie it and hold the Twins scoreless. We go to the extra innings.
Exactly where we were at midnight last night.
International tie-breaking rule in effect.
Correct.
So,
which is to speed up the game, but doesn't necessarily always do so.
well, Graham's going to try to make sure that the Cubs don't get a sniff here on the bases. Kirk, a strikeout victim back in the 4th inning. As Graham bounces one in. Kirk able to stay alive. Graham for the Twins only allowing 3 hits here tonight. It started off a little rough, giving off that leadoff double to Brancho back in the 1st inning, who eventually came around to score, and then allowed a single back in the 3rd, and that's been it for the Cubs offensively, as Graham has been able to shut the door.
Pretty much.
And he gets Kirk on a nice changeup there.
Change-up.
Those are the type of pitches that
Embarrass you?
nightmares are made of. So Dan Mitchell coming to the plate, the 3rd baseman. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Hit into a double play back in the 1st and flied out to left field in the 4th. And cuts hard through that first offering from Graham. And that just missed. Evens the count at 1-1. $11 strikeouts for Graham on the night, so getting into double digits, and now has Mitchell on the rope looking for number 12. And sails that high, trying to get Mitchell to chase. That one got away. Graham not happy with himself. Three and two pitch coming up here. All it takes is one swing of the bat, and we're evened up. But it's not going to be that one as Mitchell goes down, swinging for the second out, and now due up is Brian Eit, the first baseman. Last chance for the Cubs here to find the equalizer.
First baseman number 27, Brian Eit.
If the Twins can hold on to win this one, they'll improve to 1-1.
Outside corner.
Change the speeds, just sneaks too far outside. And that will dribble out to second base. Little toss over. And that will do it as the Twins come back to win this one 2-1. And when you look at the stat line for Graham, 1 run on 3 hits and 12 Ks on the night. So great effort by Graham as the Twins go to 1-1. Cubs drop to 0-2. And now we look ahead tomorrow, Bernie. 9 o'clock start here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard.
Bright and early.
So on behalf of Bernie, the crew from Conestoga, and everybody here at the Softball Canada Canadian Grand Slam featuring the Senior Men's Championships along with the U23 and Master Men's Nationals, brought to you by Kitchener Fastball Promotions. I'm Steve Sabbert. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Steve.